Welcome to the Reality TV is Self-Help Podcast Summer House Recap Edition. It's going to be 10 minutes or less, and let's just get right into it. Okay, this is only episode 2. Usually, if you know these shows, it takes till episode 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to get into this level of drama. But thanks to Kyle and Amanda and how much they hate each other, we are right into it right off the bat. Kyle is wasted because we know his voice gets extra nasally when that's happening. He's talking to West, he's talking to KJ, and Jesse was around. He says about Amanda, well, first of all, he basically implies that they haven't had sex for 2 years because he says she has smoked weed before bed every single night for the last 2 years, okay? Then West is poking around a bit. Okay, so are you saying that if Amanda smokes weed at night, you do not have sex? And Kyle said yes. So then, okay. And KJ's face was like, oh my God. Kyle also says so that Amanda is basically like someone off of Hoarders. He's begged her mom to come to the city to help her clean, that no maid or no cleaner will even work for them because the place is just such a disaster. And they do film and show all these different clips of all these piles of things everywhere. But yet we also know, well, Kyle, you also said that you've only been home 1.5 weekends from January to June. So why the hell do you care when that's not even a place that you're making comfortable like a home? But we'll get to that later as to why Kyle has to DJ. He said that she's living chaotically. Amanda shows up and then he pretends, oh, I don't know what's happening. Well, Amanda and Kyle start talking. He says to Amanda, yeah, you haven't asked me a question in years. In years? In years. Maybe she's not this season, but I'm sure she has. So she goes, Kyle, you always have to exaggerate. But again, you can tell she's over it. KJ's like, yeah, no, I'm in trouble. KJ is really starting to grow on me. So Carl's concerned. I thought it was funny. You see KJ dancing after the bar and he almost falls. That was entertaining. We see Ben's ass. Bailey, so relate to her. She keeps winning me over. She's hilarious. She's like, I always like guys with tattoos that are losers. Same as me. And she's like, but my ex didn't have a tattoo, but he was still a loser and he didn't have a job. Oh my God. We are like soul sisters, Bailey. Jesse is in bed with Amanda and Sierra in the morning. Kyle can't find Amanda. Now he wants to find Amanda because he wakes up and the Sunday scaries, which might be a lot more days of the week than just Sunday for him, are setting in, and he's walking around going, I'm so sick of this effing energy. Sierra's Bob in some of the shots where she's talking to the camera. Love that. My favorite hair that I've ever seen her have. So we see Lindsay, Sierra, as well as Amanda in a bar in New York City. Lindsay saying, Kyle just called me yesterday and he's really concerned he's not being heard in the relationship or he's not feeling whatever that may be. And then Amanda says, there's only 2 things that I've asked him to change, which would be his drinking and going out late. She said he's never changed those. And then there's all these constant rumors that we know about. Specifically, this is when it's dropped, which we already know from the previews, that Kyle fell asleep at a fan's apartment on a couch till 6:30 a.m. Kyle later then goes on to explain when he goes to Carl's apartment in the city. What people don't know is that he has no salary for Loverboy. He had to be a DJ, guys, to pay the bills, okay? What is up with Amanda judging him? All he wants to do is pay the bills. Then we see Bailey. She has something called It Girl. She talks about how she started making money off that, which is amazing, because that is a dream. I would love to make money off of this one day. And her ex despised that she was becoming successful, even though she's like, well, I just took you on a trip. I just did this. Anyways, I love her honesty that she's admitting to the ins and outs of her previous toxic relationship. Kyle says that he was ashamed when he's talking to Carl in Carl's apartment in the city. He was ashamed to be talking about his relationship with Amanda the way that he did that first weekend to those guys. He says, I'm not looking to make excuses, but that is what you are making excuses, Kyle, but okay, whatever you need to say. So the pressure of Loverboy is, of course, what's causing all of it. Stop doing this. If you're such a good businessman and your business is failing, maybe tap out, buddy. Amanda's giving him the cold shoulder, but he says they're not on the brink of collapse. Well, I think we know that they were on the brink of collapse and he's just delusional. He says, but she doesn't acknowledge what she's doing in the relationship. Maybe she just doesn't care to anymore, because that's what I relate to when you over acknowledge what you do and then the other person never does. And then it's like, well, I'm not going to acknowledge anything then. Fine. He just says, I'm not going to sit there and correct her. Amanda then says that even though Kyle just blurted out all that shit, completely trash talking her as a pothead, refusing to have sex, slob kebab hoarder, mom needs to rescue her, no maid will work for her, all this stuff, that he never acknowledged it during that whole week after they went home. So she's like, I'm not doing shit, which I love. But she said, I'm prepped and ready for that combo, but it's on him to bring it up. Totally. Then later she's saying to Bailey and Levi, I am alone. I don't have, because Sierra's not there yet. I don't have anybody. And Kyle's in the kitchen right around them. And he goes, Amanda, you have me. And her response, sarcasm, hilarious. Right, forgot. Then we see Mia introduce. What's most interesting about the new girl, Mia, so far is that she mentions she used to work at a place called The Box, which is a sex club. So I want to hear more about that. And then she says she really came out of her shell with that job and she hasn't shut the F up since. Love that. Sierra and Mia are going to make a dinner with pasta. And then Kyle's worried about it or asking about it. And then they're like, what, are you gluten-free? And then Amanda says, he's not allergic, he's just psycho. Can't disagree with you there. Wes makes a joke about Kyle falling at a bar. Kyle mentions leaving his credit card there. I don't know if that was a joke or not. And then it's revealed further that yet again, Kyle was wasted, which has been a consistent thing through 10 years of Summer House. So what that means is for Kyle to truly decide for himself. And then Amanda says, you're making smart decisions, Kyle, one after the other. I love sarcastic Amanda. And then another point she says, no, he's always nice, just not to me. Exactly. He is not nice to Amanda. And he doesn't see how much of an ass it makes him look like to everyone else, especially because they're supposed to be having fun. Yes, they're filming a reality show, but he is definitely killing the mood. We see Sierra. This was unique because as so many Bravo shows have been criticized, they're often very, very white. And so it is interesting to see Sierra and KJ, two people who are Black, discussing racism, what they were taught about protecting themselves, staying safe, and some of their experiences growing up with their families. And Sierra starts crying and it's really touching. And then KJ is awesome because he goes, just never apologize because I understand more than you know. KJ, loving this guy so far, and he just said he knew when he met Sierra that he said this person is strong, and then they show West's face and it looks like West is threatened with Sierra and KJ connecting. Sorry West, you fumbled it. Sadly, I think Sierra is going to give you another chance. You better not fumble it this time or the internet will come for you yet again. The final dinner. Kyle is trying to apologize to Amanda apparently in front of everybody. Bailey's face says it all. She has very expressive eyes and her eyes are saying, oh, you're gonna go there. She's sitting right next to Kyle. I call this Giggly Squad round 2. So if you'll go back to whatever season it was on when Hannah Berner was standing up to Kyle and basically saying, don't talk to me the way you talk to Amanda. And then Kyle spun it all on her, turned everyone against her, and she essentially got fired from the show. But he also called Hannah and Paige the Giggly Squad when they were laughing at him at one dinner. This is kind of what's happening here so many years later is Sierra's laughing at him or interrupting him, and her and Amanda are kind of going back and forth, and Kyle's starting to freak out because everyone must be silent when Kyle dares to speak at the dinner table. So yeah, I call this Hannah Berner round 2. So she was laughing. Amanda's face is just so over this kind of a fake apology. She said, I feel like this apology should have been given to me directly. And then Kyle gets up. He just says, flips his chair over, and he says, Sierra should have been more respectful because she's laughing. That's it. That was all that we saw. I cannot wait for the next episode. It is so juicy. I'm so into it. It is just captivating. It's just, whoa, I can't imagine being on a reality show. But I can imagine how if you were on a reality show and you had this much tension and distance and all these issues building up, and alcohol is involved for Kyle in copious amounts, yeah, it's going to come out on the surface. It's interesting because, like I said, a lot of us have dated guys like Kyle, and even if you've never dated a guy like Kyle, we've all had to work and share space with men who get to act like Kyle, all entitled, all belligerent, everyone coddles them. It is gratifying to finally see someone get their comeuppance or their payback for how they've treated their wife and so many other people over 10 seasons. So will Kyle learn? I don't know because I haven't seen him take any accountability yet. But cannot wait for episode 3. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you here next week.